Amit Zapkakwilum, Eaton Smartson, Eaton Kwam Kwam Flane, Talitan Agla Humathgram 8 Slayotas, Talitan Agla Humathgram 8 Slayotas, Eaton Smartson, Eaton Kwam Kwam, Heitzepka, Heitzepka. Heitzepka Sunsdale, Ethan Kwam Kwam.
Haka anoch, Jay Siem, in Sech Nate Marmanjet, Elch Anja Nanam, Elch Anja Nanam. O She Manato.
We use red because our spirits on the other side can see. And if they can see that we're doing the good work, they can see us dancing and performing and doing the red dresses, then at least we know that they're being honored and they're also at peace when they're crossing over to the other side.
The red is a very powerful symbol because it could mean the veins that keep us alive, the blood. But to me, the red is powerful and not just to commemorate the Red Dress Day, but also to look at all the species as species that are alive and connected.
With the art exhibit, I think it's a great way to raise awareness of these issues, not just here, but around the world. It brings attention to the issue in a different way. It speaks a different language to different people. They all say something and they speak to different people.
We do a lot of work around the issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. We are a dance group called Butterflies in Spirit, and we raise awareness of this issue. We are family members who dance to raise awareness of this issue, not just here in Canada, but around the world. We're not just a dance group either, we're actually an advocacy group, and we do whatever we can to support families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And this is a huge issue around the world.
Yesterday when I heard Lorelei insisting at every time that she spoke, this is not only about the missing and murdered women in Canada, but it's about everywhere in the world. And when I saw how much of what she is today and what Butterflies in the Spirit really is today, it is about Indigenous and other victims of violence from Latin America coming together with Butterflies, then I kind of situate myself fully differently. And then I saw, so this is a layer of collaboration that I haven't thought, and it's a layer of collaboration through dance, but as Lorelei says, much more than that, to make the most political statement that was, this is a global issue.
With Butterflies, we're not just one nation. We come from different parts of nations and different ethnicities, and collaborating with you guys, I feel like we were meant to do this project, and our ancestors are actually smiling down at us because that's something that they didn't get to do in their time. It was illegal in their time, and the diversity between all our people, we were all put in different areas where we weren't allowed to collaborate, and so I feel like our ancestors are so happy with us right now. So
the women here in Canada and also in all the Latin America, it's an important como pilar para la vida. Protect the water, protect the land, protect the life. So I think that the work that we do with Butterflies in Spirit, and when we dance, it's an opportunity to heal, to invite the people to reflection about this issue and to think together and how we can work
to do something because there is a lot of indifference.
Looking at so many places, so many memories, so many histories that relate in the same room, it was a powerful experience. But also the performance outside, coming inside, the movement, the people engaging a lot, and hearing stories. We just hear stories of people that came, that why they came, and it was just a powerful experience. Yeah.
So I think it's a really difficult question, how does art or textile or any work make transformation? For me, I think the transformation starts to happen in the language, the way it sort of challenges you in different places. You wouldn't want to overstate that, but I think there's a challenge in these works in a public space that have a history of violence attached to them. And then I think the wider issue, if we look around this, the gallery today, is that the pieces are in conversation with each other. It's, the red dress here representing the missing in this context, and then you have a piece here which is not about this context, but it has the red and the black, and they sort of speak to each other in some way. And so I think it's in the messaging, the word I used, the language of the textile. I think it's trying to speak to you. Maybe depends on how receptive you are to hear what it's saying to you.
A big part of our curatorial intention as well is that we really wanted folks who come to the exhibit to not just look at the art passively as if this thing is happening over here. The downtown east side, which we are here right now, is sort of like that's something that happens over there. But it's not, right? And even even someone living in Shaughnessy, for example, someone living in Kits, that might be geographically or socially distant from what we may think is distant from those issues, are still part of the system that produces those violences. What we hope audiences will take away is that, these topics of missing and murdered Indigenous women, the topic of disappeared people in Uganda, disappeared people in state violence in Colombia, they're not so far off from our lived realities here in Canada.
Memory and memory work is not about a past. It's better to say it's about a past that is not yet past. For example, the violence against Indigenous peoples, against Indigenous women, looks like was something that happened in colonial times. Violence against Indigenous people and against Indigenous women, it's something that we experience here in Vancouver, in the downtown today.
It was really beautiful to see public art in action in Vancouver at this space that is definitely so meaningful because there are galleries there, the place of protest is there. So it really is very meaningful to me, in that way. That is a space that I see transformed, not the type of usual UBC robes on the square, but also it's a space that is so close to the most emblematic place of protest that it became quite meaningful.
And one of that most important layers that we want to make visible with the exhibition is the creative ways as people continue trying to transform that past and present violence, structural violence. And each piece in the exhibit tells the creative ways as people try to overcome, but also respond and question that structural violence.
The term weaving and the concept of weaving has come up quite a few times. Firstly, just the form itself. It has come up in conversations with butterflies and spirits from their own communities, different weaving, stitching practices. This work is also about caring for memory, caring for the future, caring for people and communities. And so I think that there's a level of thinking about weaving and stitching, and as a form of care work that can be a powerful way to confront or intervene upon systemic violence.
And we often talk about the textiles as having their own language, that there's a language of memory, there's a language that the textiles speak. And in that sense, what I see there and what you see there might be quite different, but they tell a very tactile, it's a tactile way of telling history. And we encourage people, wouldn't to too many people, but just to touch it, because it also has there's a resonance when you touch textiles as well, and I think that's important. It's engaging all those different senses.
Yeah, Iris Frank, she was just a teenager when she passed away. She was found in 1980 by her father, and that was my dad's sister, and not only sister but best friend. And I just want to acknowledge and say how happy I am that my mom and my dad are here today. The justice system was never built for Indigenous people. It was built against us.
Something has to change. It has to be very drastic. I don't know what it is, because I keep saying all the things that should be changed, like policies, laws, and governments, and police, and all of it needs to be changed, all of the policies that they follow.
It's hard to even get anyone to search for our loved ones. It's hard to have people, put it out in the media that, hey, or an Amber Alert, hey, Jane Doe's missing.
Marie Sinclair said it so well. You can take all the racist people out of the system, but those racist policies are still there that they follow.
What I want, or I hope to happen with the exhibit, is for people to start to ask their relationship with that presence that is a colonial and structural violence. And taking in mind that that is not a past, that is our present, people start to ask if they are interested to make something to change.
I want a better world for my daughter to walk into, because I don't want her to live in fear. She's only 2 years old, but I still have to protect her to make sure she's safe. And she has a target on her back with not only being Indigenous, but also being Colombian. And living in both worlds and trying to exist in this world, it's not ideal for her. And I'm hoping that us changing the system, or us, raising awareness, she'll feel a little lighter when she gets older to walk in these streets safely.
Amit Zapkakwilam, Eaton Smartson, Eaton Kwam Flane, Talitan Agla Humathgram 8 Slayotas, Talitan Agla Humathgram 8 Slayotas, Eaton Smartson, Eaton Kwam, Heitzepka, Heitzepka Sansteo, Eaton Kwam.
Haka anoch, Jay, CM, in Seach